This is a throwaway for the obvious reasons. I had plans to hang out with my girlfriend after her class tonight around 9 to 10 p.m. So, texted her something nice around that time to let her know I was thinking of her and see when she would be done. No response. She texts me hi a couple of hours later. I responded, hey, what's up? At this point, a little upset. She had blown me off for hours past the time she said she would hit me up after class. No response again, this time for the rest of the night. I was starting to get worried because I know she leaves campus late and it can be sketchy in that area sometimes. I text her and call her a couple more times, no response. At this point, I'm definitely worried and text her I'm gonna stop by to make sure she's all good. She's a girl and lives alone and just 5 minutes from me. So I swing by and all the lights are on. I walk up to the front door and knock. She comes out looking surprised, steps outside, oddly. I say, what's up? I was worried you weren't okay. I never heard back from you and you kind of bailed on our plans. She then says, oh, sorry, I've been hanging with some friends from school. So I ask, is someone in there right now? And she tries to casually play off, yeah, there is a guy from class over. We've been hanging out talking about our class. Mind you, it's 2 a.m. She then asks me to come in and if I want to meet him. I say yes. I come in and meet this guy, who looks a bit startled. Introduce myself and then they start catching me up on what they were talking about. My girlfriend is acting pretty odd, like super casual that the fact I just showed up at 1:30 a.m. after she's been ignoring me and there's a random guy I don't know there, she's acting like it's no big deal. Within 20 minutes, I decide I'm going home and ask her to walk me out. I then ask her to make the guy leave because there's no reason to be there that late. She says no, we're in the middle of a conversation. I try explaining to her this isn't cool with me and makes me uncomfortable and she doesn't seem to care one bit. She just says, I'm not gonna argue with you about this while someone is right here. We can talk tomorrow. And then walks back inside. I tried not to make a scene and be respectful of her house while still letting her know it wasn't cool. Am I crazy or are those serious red flags and I'm being naive here? I have to talk to her tomorrow and I'm not sure how to approach this. Well, Opie, it's a weird situation, but I definitely wouldn't want to be in your shoes because it does put you in a really uncomfortable position. Sure, you don't have the right to tell her who she can and who she can't invite, but you definitely can tell her that this is way out of bounds, that it's not respectful to you or the relationship. She blew you off, she ignored you to go hang out with some guy at her house alone and they were just talking about classes? Honestly, to me, this is a huge red flag and it would have me questioning, do I really want to be with a person who doesn't respect me to the point that she blows me off to spend time with somebody else? I don't care if it's the Pope or a friend. You had plans with her, she didn't say anything, sent you one message that said hi, and then ignored you the rest of the night. I'd be done with this. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Deleted says, quote, am I crazy or are those serious red flags and I'm being naive here? End quote. If you believe a word of what she told you, then yes, you are being incredibly effing naive here. 0359724 says, you're almost 30. You don't see what was going on? Would you do this to her and would she be okay with it? I assume you guys are exclusive and monogamous and committed. If so, this would be a deal breaker for me. Seems very disrespectful. I know my woman would never behave like this, but she loves and respects me. So I got that going for me, which is nice. But you don't. Dump her or live like a simp. McFlurry Nuggets says, red flag, not cool bro, not cool, not at all, red flag. I don't know how it is with other people, but even my friends and I barely hang out past 2 a.m. That's sleeping time already. This is sketchy to me. Bring it up again, but be respectful. She'll say what she feels for sure, or you'd know how she feels about you being uncomfortable with it once she starts talking. And Dopey responds, I agree. I want to come at it from a respectful angle and see if she even cares at all that this is very upsetting to me and doesn't make me feel comfortable at all. She tries to say how she has guy friends and always has. I'm totally cool with that, but there has to be a line of what's appropriate with that, yeah? One thread killer one says, are you really cool with her having guy friends if that means you're going to have to find her in potentially intimate situations with them? She ignored you, then showed pretty obvious discomfort being caught because she knows it's not a monogamous activity. Having friends in a relationship is fine as long as the friendships are appropriate. Your problem seems to be no boundaries and the assumption that trust will cover inappropriate situations or actions. You can't keep trusting someone who severely tests your trust by seeming untrustworthy. There is no reason to fly off the handle. You may have found a glaring incompatibility with her. I would ask her seriously what she wants from your relationship and see if it matches up with what you're looking for. If she wants a serious committed relationship, there are usually boundaries that come with that. And Dopey responds, I agree completely. I do need to examine that and let those things be known. I'm completely fine with her having guy friends. I really like some of them and would never care if she told me she was hanging out with them one night. But to completely ignore me and then be hanging out that late with someone I've never met and she just met, that's just crossing the line in my opinion. And Phoenix3 says, just want to preface that I try to give neutral advice as want things to work out between y'all. I think all that would be fine if she didn't completely blow you off. That's the red flag here. Y'all made plans, but she canceled so she can hang out with some guy from class, and she seemed to ignore you most of the time. It's possible her communication skills aren't the best, but I can't say for sure. Either way, just talk to her and tell her how it made you feel. If she sympathizes with you, then great. If she gets defensive, then that opens up another conversation. Well, the majority of the community agrees that OP is not wrong here and that she's definitely showing some red flags. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. This all happened a couple days before what would have been our anniversary. I obviously should have seen the signs from the first post, but the first part of this update is letting you guys know that I initially did not end the relationship. What a regret. How I handled it was, we met the next morning to talk and I let her explain her side of things. She explained that other people were at the house that night earlier and she was going to be hanging around with kids from class sometimes now that school has started. Keep in mind, she is 25 and going back to school now, and most of these kids are around 19 and 22. Nothing super serious as far as class load is concerned. She is studying theater at a community college. I explained to her why all signs point to that being a major red flag. She somewhat hears me out and apologizes for not better communicating her plans that night, but defends herself that hanging out with friends from class is not wrong. So in the future, she would communicate better about her plans and do a better job not making me feel concerned. I was obviously angry and upset about the previous situation, but I did truly love this girl and was willing to give things a chance to progress forward and her show me the positive changes. We had continued our relationship and everything was going good for the most part. Then recently communication did not seem to be going the best and there were some signs that she wasn't giving as much effort into the things we spoke about before as she had promised to do. There were signs of her actively trying to pick fights and perpetuating them longer than needed even when I had made attempts to reconcile and move forward from any arguments. I did feel heavily that this time that she was not respecting me in these conversations, and any attempts I made to lovingly let her know this met with hostility, which she then would attempt to turn right back on me, like it was my fault the fight even happened. This was getting old, but I was still making every effort to bring us back to a good space on a more everyday basis because I was wildly in love with this girl and the connection I thought we shared. The deceiving thing as well is that she was also very good at making me feel at other times she felt the same way about me. You're the love of my life. I love you more than anything. Future plans together. Talking about how lucky she was to be with me, etc. These were all exploited to be absolute lies. Fast forward to a few nights ago. We had plans to hang out that night, and when I asked her earlier in the day what she wanted to do, she told me she had actually agreed to go get sushi with a friend she hadn't seen in a while. I let her know this upset me since she was bailing on our plans, but in attempts to be understanding, I then suggested we just meet up after instead and go out that night to do something fun. She did not give me a definite answer, but kept bouncing around the subjects, saying she would keep me updated on when she was finished. I let her know, hey, you don't cancel plans with your boyfriend, then when he's cool about it and tries to suggest something else, leave him up in the air saying, maybe we can hang. It makes me feel like not a priority, and it's not how you treat someone you love. She ends up going off on me again, and we leave on the terms of, okay, we will just talk later. I call later and let her know that after dinner, it would mean a lot to me if we could spend some quality time together. I had been waiting for that since all the time we were hanging out was during the day with other stuff going on sometimes. She calls me after dinner around 9:30 p.m. and lets me know she is home. I ask her to come and hang out so we can figure out what to do, and she deflects with, oh, my other friend, girl who I know, wanted to go to a midnight showing of a movie tonight, and I haven't seen her in so long. I know I may seem completely stupid to you guys at this point, but I assure you I was already seeing through her BS and knew something wasn't right. I keep calm and just let her know I think that was messed up, bums me out, and that I wish she would at least try to include me with her friends when doing stuff like that. She then tries to the level of trying to make me feel bad that I can't just be understanding. She maybe wants to hang out with her friends without me sometimes. She tells me she will call me after the movie and asks if she can come over and spend the night with me after it's finished. Meanwhile, I knew I had friends going out that night as well, and I could go grab some drinks with them, finish up around same time, and then meet back at my house to spend the night together. I did not tell her I was going out because it did not seem relevant at the time, and I had some weird suspicions that something else was going on. 1:45 a.m. rolls around and I'm leaving the bar with some friends to grab a burrito before heading home. I walk down the street and lo and behold, there she is on the corner of the street standing with a guy. One of the same guys from that night at the house in my original post. Shocker, I know. I confront her and ask her what's going on. She attempts to even further lie, explain how her girlfriend was supposed to come too. Like that makes it any better. Lol. It isn't what it looks like, blah, blah, blah. Same old BS lies and no accountability, even when caught in a dead lie on a date with another guy. I turn to the guy and ask him what's going on. He explains he was invited to the movies, not much else. Looks kind of scared because I'm sure I was irate. I have no problem with him at all because it's 100% my then girlfriend's fault. I walk to the side with her and ask her to just be real with me for once. Tell me what's going on and come to terms with who she is and what she's done here. She shuts down when she realizes she can't talk her way out of things and tries to ask if we can talk tomorrow and not make a scene here. I tell her if you want to explain yourself, then you can leave right now and I will at least hear you out. She says, no, I am not leaving my friend here alone. You are overreacting and it's not as bad as it looks. Even though I'm pretty hurt at this point, I can't help but bust out in laughter at the disbelief of the whole thing now. I tell her this is it and this relationship is fully done now then. Should have been done a while ago, but that seals the deal and I truly see you for who you are now, a lying, manipulative, actual sociopath. I left with my friends, blocked her on everything, and now I'm moving forward for good. I do want to say though, I made a huge mistake in this whole scenario by not leaving when my gut told me to. So many signs pointed to her being so fake, such a liar, and not trustworthy at all. But I let the good times and her manipulative words keep me around thinking that I just needed to make more effort myself to make things work. And it wasn't until I had fully given all of myself into trying that I was hit with the most disrespectful thing I have ever had done to me. Listen to your gut, people, and follow your intuition. If you are making clear efforts in a relationship with someone and they are giving you nothing back, creating friction, and show no remorse in any of their mistakes, run for the hills. Even though I was very hurt by the deceit and catching someone cheat on me, I ultimately know this is 100% for the best and a huge blessing in disguise because this person never truly loved me the way I cared for them. Who knows how much longer I would have stuck around and let myself be treated like this. but I am grateful it happened now, and there is no chance in hell I would ever give her a second chance of my time again. Sorry for the novel. It feels good to vent. Much love. Opie's edit. I really appreciate all the positive response and feedback I've gotten here, as well as all the insightful messages I've received. I am doing my best to respond to everyone who has taken the time to give me their input, positive or negative. Thank you. And for the people responding thinking I was making assumptions about the situation I woke up on that night and defending that it could have been just a friend, let me explain that there was no way it was not what it looked like. I did not include the whole dialogue exchange between us, but the guy did make it clear he was under the impression they were on a date, which is when I walked away because it definitely contradicted her whole made-up story. Well, OP, good for you. It took you a little bit to get there, but you eventually got there and in good fashion, and now you're moving forward. So here's wishing you the best, OP. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge and it's by user altruistic.5380. The elite got a taste of their own medicine. Back in 2018, I married my now ex-husband. He came from money and grew up in the upper class. He never lacked anything. I'm the complete opposite. Grew up extremely poor and learned very early on that you have to work hard and have your own back. We met at his uncle's restaurant where I was a server. He came in one day to eat. I was his server. He asked for my number and we hit it off, or so I thought. After we got married, his true colors were quick to follow. A complete narcissist, actually diagnosed. This story takes place when I meet his sister and her boyfriend for the first time. We pick them up from the airport, and as he introduces us, she eagerly says, "OMG, she's totally Jordan's." Her boyfriend agrees, and my husband chuckles. I'm like, "What is Jordan's?" And my husband tells me that it means I have great style. I thank her for the compliment and think nothing of it. Throughout their visit, they start calling me Jordan's, and I accept it as a cute nickname. Like, great, they like me. That was until one night we decided to all get drunk. We popped open some wine, and as we drank more and more, they started commenting on how crappy and cheap my wine was. I kinda shook it off as they decided to play stupid drinking games. Truth or Dare was one of them. My husband's sister dared him to tell me what Jordan's was. They are all laughing like chickens and totally drunk. He says, "Jordan's is the name we give homeless people who have swag." I'm completely dumbfounded as they all burst out into more laughter. I was not as drunk as everyone else and just sat there trying not to cry. Fast forward to the next day. I asked my hungover husband what the F was their problem. He had completely removed that fact that he had told me. He started saying, "It's just a joke, don't take it seriously." I didn't let it go and kept pressing the matter. He finally told me, "I may have told them about your upbringing and how you are not like us, just to prepare them." I was in complete shock. To prepare them? For me? I could not believe what I was hearing. I spent the next few days to myself, making excuses, staying busy. My husband had bought an expensive bottle of tequila that we were supposed to drink the night before they left. The day before the last, they went on a hike, which I excused myself from. Time for a little payback, mother effers. Let's test your elite palates. I videotaped myself swapping out the expensive bottle of tequila for Zauza Gold. In the video, I sit back and enjoy shots of tequila talking about my upbringing, the love of closeness I share with my family, and how fortunate I was to have grown up not becoming a disgusting piece of crap snob like the family I married into. I mean, I went off. I got drunk and went to bed by the time they got back. So I didn't have to engage, and they didn't know I was drunk off $200 worth of tequila. The last night I watched these idiots sip the tequila like wine and comment on how distinguished and delicate it was. They mentioned you could taste the quality. I'm sitting there enjoying every word that came out of their mouths. I then get up, connect my phone to the TV and say, "I put something together for you guys to say thank you for your visit." I hit play and watch as they started to understand what just happened and what they were drinking. Satisfied, I start gathering shot glasses off the table while the echo of total silence hit the walls. They said nothing to me. I went to bed only to have my husband wake me up in outrage, telling me his sister was crying because I humiliated them. I just say, yeah, sucks, doesn't it? They left the next day and never spoke to me again. Even when we visited their parents, they all live in Europe, she refused to come see us. Safe to say, I'm happily divorced. Now this is a fantastic petty revenge. You put them in their place and now you're out of that gross circle. Good for you, OP. Thanks so much for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.